friends, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Yes.
Madam
Jeff.
Chair, I have 2 items to add, and I would add them under item number 4 and make them B and C.
Okay.
B would be the approval of a 30-hour social worker, and C would be relating to the Public Health and Human Services Director position.
Great, thank you. Any other additions to the agenda? Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor? Oh, excuse me?
Jenny.
Jan? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we are one commissioner short today, which we knew was going to happen. Okay, so at this time, I would imagine that you are both here for public comment. Is that correct? Okay. So at this time, the public is welcome to address the county board on any matter of county concern. When invited to speak, please state your name, address, and the topic you are addressing. Members of the public may speak respectfully for up to 5 minutes. The public comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes. So please come to the front, whoever would like to come first. And also just to, yes, and please sign up there, just to let you know that we are not allowed to engage in conversation with you. So if it feels odd that you just speak and then nobody says anything, it's because we don't engage with public comment, but we may pick up your comments later on in the meeting.
Okay. My name is Brad Thompson, just to live on the east side of town here. That brings up one of my concerns is more dialogue between the board and the public. I guess it seems every week there's another expense brought up. This week I don't really care for the plan to increase the funding toward bicycle programs. If we're going to fund the bicycle program, why aren't we funding more snowmobile, more ATV, just across the board? I think everybody should be able to take care of their own sport. I really have not done a whole lot of research. I'm busy working. I don't take the time, have the time to do a lot of research on what's going on. I'm guilty of not following everything and having all the information maybe I should have, but I just every week see more spending, and I don't think the county can keep doing it. It seems like I heard more, another position maybe coming in just this week. I guess you can't talk back to me, but it seems like I just heard another position in social services or something. Just, we gotta quit spending. I don't know what else to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Arvis, are you speaking this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Arvis Thompson, District 1. I grabbed the paper from September 9th, and there were some things in there that started to make me rather concerned. And so I wanted to bring them to your attention and to the attention of the public too that might be watching, and saying, people, we need to start asking some questions. Information that's out there needs to be researched, and you need to be comfortable with the decisions that are being made. Here it says, one of the people that provided some information to you for making some decisions is called Ehlers. I think I'm pronouncing that properly. They say their fiduciary duty to the clients is to design customized financial solutions to help grow their communities. I think that's interesting to say grow. Grow for who? And grow for where? And grow for what special interest group? Are you growing for the majority of the county? Or are you focusing again on little special interests? And I'm going to cite the bicycle one as a little special interest. Where does that benefit us as a whole? That's a business that is taking advantage of you, and you're being sucked in and providing them with money to do what they need to do in order to make more money. And we're doing it on the taxpayer dollar. And you're hiding it in the EDA. We talk about the county growing. Yeah, we're growing. We've grown, as the paper says here, 8 positions in Health and Human Services alone since Mr. Cadwell has come. And now you're talking about another one, a 9th one, in one department? What about the rest of the county? How many people are we adding in all these other departments? Payroll tends to be a huge expense, and all the benefits that go with it. And you're adding more people to something that you're going to tell us you have absolutely no control over. You do not need to hire them in the first place. You also, here it says 80% of our budget is mandated, so we don't have a choice. Yes, you do. You have a choice in the 20% that's not mandated. You could stop that 20% right now and say, no non-mandated services across the board. Come up with a plan to allow anything that's worthwhile then to come back to you at some point in the future and say, okay, in 2020, let's revisit it. Let these non-mandated figure out a way to make it on their own, to use their own resources, not our resources, but their own resources. We also talk in here about Health and Human Services, and I worked for Human Services for 30 years, so I have a sense about them. But they need more people because they leave work at the end of the day with things being undone. Hey, folks, it's been that way for the last 40 years, and it will continue to be that way. And are you thinking that you're going to fix it by hiring more staff? I asked the other day about, a couple weeks ago, about the poverty numbers, 2,650 people. I've not heard from anybody. No one has bothered to tell or put in the paper or write a letter or in any way make an informed information about where are those 2,650 people coming from. If you'll recall, I said, are they working, non-working, East End, West End? Do we truly have 2,600 people who are in poverty? But no one is coming up with any kind of detail or explanation or information. Is that not part of your job or somebody's job? When someone asks a question, can we not expect an answer? I know you can't talk right now, but when? When does a person sitting here making a public comment ever get a response? From who and how? Or are we just talking to the wall back there and it's going right on through and you're going, oh yeah, nice, here she comes again. Not going to give her an answer because we don't have an answer, we don't want to give her an answer because the answer is going to hurt. I challenge you to respond to the public who is trying to get to you. They don't know how. They feel like it's hopeless. Can you not instill some hope in people that it's worthwhile to come here and give you some input? If they thought it was, they might be here. But they aren't.
Thank you, Iris. Mike, are you here for public comment? And you are welcome to speak to public comment.
No, I didn't actually come to speak, but since I'm here and almost nobody else is, and I am Mike Carlson. I live 1655 East Highway 61. I applaud your efforts as county commissioners. I want to make sure that that the decisions you make about taxation are very significant to the community, and I understand how difficult it is to make a fair and equal taxation burden upon people who can't afford it, and trying to tax higher the people that can afford it. And I hope that you're able to come to a balance on that. I did want to make one comment. I know there's an issue of racism in this community right now that has come forth, and it's the point where one young family, well, a relatively young family, is going to be leaving the community because of that issue. And I think that I didn't want to have to make this as a public statement, but I think that it needs to be a concern, that we know that this community is far from perfect, and that I hope that we're able to come together as a community and heal this particular failure again in our community. I know that there's going to be a group meeting about it today, and that I just want to have the message out that it's a community that should be open to all people that come here to Cook County. We're a diverse community. 1/3 of our community, I think, or close to that, is, 1/4 of our community is minority, other than the female. There's the other minority group. Anyhow, I just wanted to make sure that we are aware as a community that things are less than perfect here, and we need to keep working towards those. The efforts that you make as a commission is very important. Not everybody's going to be supporting you all the time. I hope that you are able to respond to the concerns of the community. I think there may be need for more public comment sessions with individual commissioners. That may be the thing that would be helpful, to have the little coffee party type things going on. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. And as I said earlier, these subjects that come up during public comment can be picked up by any of us during our employee or commissioner concerns, which is number 9 on our agenda. So any one of us are welcome to bring up an item for discussion at that time. Thank you. So consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like to pull from the consent agenda? And if not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, Judy Hill, you are up. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Judy Hill, Human Resource Generalist, and I have a couple items I wanted to bring before the board. The first item is an action item to approve the reclassification of our Chief Deputy Recorder. Our Chief Deputy Recorder was, a little history, when we underwent the job evaluation system with consulting with Keystone, our Chief Deputy Recorder was reclassified then, recommended at a higher level. But we haven't implemented the full Keystone system yet. That's in the process of union approval. Meanwhile, the Personnel Committee approved reclassification of the Chief Deputy Recorder's position from a B-22 to a C-41. What I'm asking today is to recognize her experience and to place her on step 10. Before that, the procedure was when a job was reclassified, they were put down at the lowest step that matched their pay. And because she has been working in this position, really, she's been working for the county for over 15 years and is well experienced at this position, we're asking to maintain the step that she was at prior to being reclassified.
Great, thank you, Judy. Anything to add? Okay. Commissioner Bershine, questions or comments?
Makes sense. Thank you for your work on it.
Commissioner Dukert?
No questions.
Commissioner Storley?
No questions.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Are there any opposed? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a consent item. This is to, I guess, approve the hiring of a 30-hour social worker 1 position. The employee that we would like to hire is Anita Jezia, and the position has been approved for posting at previous board meeting, And we've gone through the interview process, and this is the person that we will be extending the offer to, and would like to approve her hiring at a C42, a C43-2, Step 2 classification, which is a social worker 1 position.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a quick clarification. This would have been a consent item if we had had the paperwork in time to meet the deadline for the publication. So it's an already approved position, and it's a typical process for filling that position. If we would have had the paperwork on Thursday morning, it would have been part of item 3 consent, so.
And we might have pulled it anyway.
You may have pulled it anyway, because.
So, but thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Starley, any comments or questions?
30 hours, I'm just trying to refresh my memory on the social worker.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Commissioner. The Olivia McGee resigned and took a position in Silver Bay, and we authorized filling that with a 140 and 130-hour position. And the 40-hour position is still vacant, but this is the 30-hour position created by her leaving.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Dukirk.
So just, not to pick on public comment, but this is not a 9th position. This is part of filling our needs in the department. So just so we can have that clear.
Thank you. Commissioner Bershine.
Well, pre-approved it, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Are there any opposed? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And Madam Chair, item C is related to our Public Health and Human Services Director. On Wednesday, we had an interview with our internal candidate, and the recommendation from the interview committee was unanimous that we would extend an offer to Allison McIntyre as our next Director of Public Health and Human Services. And she accepted the offer. And the recommendation is that we hire her as Health and Human Services Director effective today, and we'll work out the transition plan for the position that she's vacating at the current classification of D63-2, Step 2, and then we would have a step increase at 6 months and another one at a year, and then on the regular schedule thereafter.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Bershine, questions or comments?
No, seems to be a good choice.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Dukirk?
Just a thank you to our former director, Sue Footerer. She spent a lot of time with her staff helping to encourage them and get them to grow and to become people who can step into other positions. I know that was a huge thing that she cultivated. I know when we had her retirement, many of her staff discussed how that was made so that she could work there, and I believe that Allison is going to carry on the tradition that Sue put in encouraging staff and making it so that everyone will have an opportunity to grow in their position, and hopefully we'll see good things coming out of public health here pretty quick, so it's pretty exciting.
Thank you. Commissioner Sterling?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'm pleased that we were able to look within our department and to say, there are folks there that have done great jobs. They've worked their way up through the ranks to positions that they are now heading, and to move on. And it was great to hear that she has accepted.
Thank you. And I just wanted to make that comment too. This was a fun task to interview this person, and I'm really excited that this young person will be growing into this position, and I feel like Cook County's in really good hands. Public Health Human Services is really in good hands under her leadership, and just very excited for that potential and that possibility. So thank you for all those who worked on it, for Sue Footer, who helped develop and empower people under her. And I agree, I think Allison will do a great job with that too. So it's pretty exciting, and this position is a big position in our organization. And to have it filled alleviates a lot of stress among a lot of people when a position like this is not filled, it creates a lot of stress on the whole organization. So I'm also grateful that we will be able to move forward and keep providing the excellent services and that we do to the community for the people who are the most vulnerable in this community. It's so we did two, filling the position that Olivia left, and Olivia did such a great job. That was a real void in our system, and so to have that position filled and now the Public Health Human Services Director filled, feels really good to have the holes in that department filled.
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Great, thank you.
And then, Madam Chair,
Yes.
what I'm going to do is Health and Human Services has their monthly all-staff meeting at this point in time, so I'm going to go upstairs and deliver that news to them.
Great,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah, thank you. Carrie, our congratulations and hope. Thanks. Yeah, makes us feel more hopeful. So there's a little hopeful, right? Yes. Okay, Lisa, following hope.
Yep. She can bring us more happiness.
Yes.
Good morning. You'll have to excuse me. I have a cold. So, thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. So I'm here today because we got final approval for that STAR grant through the Lake Superior Coastal Program to develop a master plan for the Sawtooth Bluffs project. And that project being a City of Grand Marais and County joint ownership area consisting of 640 acres of land north of and surrounding the water tower on the Gunflint Trail and around Old Ski Hill Road. And the master planning process will identify the space, needs of the county, and how those needs can be met through the Sawtooth Bluff project. Emphasis is currently on recreation, but all needs, including development, will be addressed. The first meeting of the Sawtooth Bluff Steering Committee and Arrowhead Regional Development Commission would take place on, originally was going to be September 28th, but due to some conflicts, we had to change it to October 6th at 1 o'clock to begin the visioning process, followed by public meetings for input and comments during the master plan draft development and leading to a final draft to be put online. And so today, I'm requesting to approve the formation of the Sawtooth Bluff Steering Committee to work in conjunction with the Arrowhead Regional Development Commission through the Sawtooth Bluffs master planning process, with these members being County Commissioner Myron Bersheim, County Administrator Jeff Cadwell, myself as Land Commissioner Parks and Trails Director, member of the County Parks and Trails Commission, David Demmer, City of Grand Marais Administrator Mike Roth, City of Grand Marais Parks Manager David Tersteg, and a member of the original Old Ski Hill Committee, Susan Abrahamson.
Thank you. So, Commissioner Bersheim, questions, comments?
Well, I spoke about this previously, so I'm happy to be involved in this. I had some experience in the metro area on this regard, so not saying that that's applicable to here, but I think it's going to be a good process, and I'm glad to be part of it. And hopefully I represent the rest of you appropriately.
No questions or comments?
Commissioner Starling.
We had a good meeting last night. It was short. But then the whole point is that there's grant funds and matching funds that'll be allocated for this. So at this point anyway, that's good.
Thank you. So as I read through this, I realized that this is a government project. It's coming from government. Government represents the people. My only hope for this group would that there be somebody, and I'm sure there will be, including your voice, Commissioner Bersheim, because I know when we first talked about this, you shared some concerns, and I don't exactly remember the concerns, but one of my concerns is that because this is a very important piece of land and it's public land, and recreation is our backbone, economic backbone here, that it would have, this is an afterthought, and this committee is going to work fabulously, I believe that, to have that economic hat on. So I would hope that, even though these are all government folks, that they would solicit economic.
That's what the meetings
Yeah.
are for.
Yeah, and Arrowhead Regional Development Council is an economic driver force in our community. So they'll have that. I just want to make sure that we have that economic screen that we all view our recreational assets through, not totally, but at least have it as an element. So there, I've said my piece. So thank you, Lisa, for this work.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Are there any opposed? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning, Commissioners. I bring before you today a request for an abatement on a piece of property on Elbow Lake. Basically, this was a GIS oversight that one of the local realtors made us aware of this. There was somehow in the past when this particular parcel was split up or divided, a smaller 1.09 acre piece was added to it, which wasn't even connected to it. The realtor brought it up to our attention. We corrected it, and GIS has since corrected it. So it went from 2.7 acres to 1.61, and we adjusted the value accordingly. So it makes a difference in tax of about $128. So it's a pretty minor thing, but it is a correction, which needs to be abated.
Thank you. Commissioner Sterling, any comments or questions?
Comment was good, yeah. It's good that it was brought to your attention and it's resolved and everybody should be pleased with it.
Thank you. Commissioner Kirk?
So is the legal description correct in the recorder's office?
It is now.
Okay. I only
Thanks.
know this because of my property issues with combining and separating and dividing.
These things come up and we correct them as we're aware, because we don't always have updated surveys. In some cases, this is an issue in Cook County where we don't have surveys of every property, so property owners will come to us and ask why our information as far as land size is different than what they have, and they may have an unrecorded survey. If it's not recorded, we don't know. There's no way of knowing. And I think people assume that surveys are automatically recorded, and they're not.
Oh,
Right.
So,
And I didn't realize that mine wasn't complete until I got my property tax statement, and I still have like 3 or 4 bills instead of 2 bills, and so we're still working on it.
it's complicated.
I know.
Commissioner Bergeron.
Work in progress. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Todd.
thank you.
Okay, Brady. Organized area fire levies.
Yeah, so I'll just hand out this is a complete report.
Oh, great.
There's the city was the last. They've now provided the Grand Marais extension area. So these are the requests from our fire departments, the unorganized, Colville, Gunflint, Hovland, Maple Hill, and then the 2 extension areas, Grand Marais extension area and Lutzen extension area into those unorganized areas. So the total proposed fire levies are $344,223, which is about $9,000 less than last year. So I'd ask for approval of those. That has to be approved by September 30th. So.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Sterling, any, excuse me, questions or comments?
No, I think it's always good when there's less involved.
Yep.
9,000 less is, and how does that happen? How does it?
Roots and extension.
The city went down.
Yeah, so
Lutzen
those
went
2
down.
extension areas, they do it by formula. So they're actually covering their own fire department and then these extended areas into the unorganized. And so it's probably just an outgrowth of, their overall costs.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got 2 that went up and 2 that went down, and
yeah.
Some stayed the same.
Yeah, and Maple Hill is taking a loan
Right.
from us rather than having a large increase this year, so, to fix the bathrooms and their entryway, so.
And in order to not have that effect on levy.
Right.
Thank you.
they've still got a pretty good increase.
Yeah.
No questions?
Commissioner Bergeron,
No.
no questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve? these
So moved.
requests? Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we probably don't need a break. Jeff, would you like to give us an update?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would provide one update, and that is in relation to the county engineer position. We discussed at the Personnel Committee the challenges in filling the engineer position. We also talked about the challenges related to wage that we're offering. And the easiest course of action, the best course of action right now was to re-advertise when there wasn't any other competing counties looking for county engineers. So we did just use the same parameters to re-advertise. I spoke with John McDonald, and he recommended a couple of other places that we would advertise for this time. I talked with Matt Huddleston about the process they went through in Lake County in finding a county engineer. And he made one suggestion, and I took that suggestion when we put the new ad out. And instead of giving the range of salaries, we specified the range as being up to the top end of the salary. And the reason for that is we had a candidate who met the qualifications, but we really didn't feel that he had the experience to jump right in and be effective from day one, which essentially means that we're looking for somebody who's coming in who not only meets the qualifications, but can be effective and understand the role, the scope from day one, which means we're looking at hiring somebody very near the top end of that scale. And that is a strategy that Lake County had to do. They had to raise their compensation, and then they advertised just the top end of that compensation, knowing that they were going to bring somebody in at that level to get somebody with that education, certification, and years of experience. So that ad is running now, and it'll run through October 27th, and hopefully we will get a larger pool of candidates to choose from. As far as I know, we're the only active county engineer search, as opposed to last time we were one of 3.
Great. Great. Anything else?
And then if commissioners have questions, I would answer those. We would typically have a budget committee meeting at 1 o'clock this afternoon, but I think given the fact that we'll be done here shortly, that perhaps we can get the 4 of us together after a quick break after the meeting and go through what business we might have as budget committee.
Great.
Great.
Okay, so that moves us into commissioner concerns, commissioner reports, meetings to note. Any-
The WTIP
Mhm.
interview, are we starting with you today?
Looks like it, according to that. Did somebody want to take my place?
Julie sent a new list.
Yeah,
This is the new list.
this is the new list.
You did it last time.
Yeah.
I did, so if
Well,
somebody else wanted to, we could
Myron's the
keep
next
going
one.
with that.
Well, I was wondering
Yeah.
in order to keep with this list, you know, otherwise then we're reviewing it
Well,
again.
I can do it today, I mean, and then we'll just switch for this week to get back on schedule.
That makes
since you did
sense.
it. So,
So I could switch with you for next week.
yeah, and then
Okay.
maybe we'll get back on schedule.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because you did it
That's fine
last
with
time.
me. Yep, great.
So I'd be glad to do that.
Okay, that's great. I just wanted to mention that I just got an email this morning, and you all did too, from Mary Somnus, Director of the EDA, that there will be a groundbreaking at the Nordic Star Development, October 2nd at 4 o'clock, and with a Crooked Spoon gathering afterwards where everybody's on their own, but I just wanted to mention it. I don't know if that falls into our notice, public notice for all being in the same place. I don't know who's planning to
Might
be
as well
there.
post
but-
it. I'll be there.
But we have time to post it,
Mhm.
so I think we should post it and then we'll be covered.
And
Great.
on that, just a big thank you to Abby Tofty. She was our EDA board member, that this was very passionate thing for her to do, and the name Nordic Star comes from Abby's suggestion. So just a thank you to Miss Tofty out there.
Thank you. Other commissioner concerns, reports?
Yes, I would like to, I have a concern. opened up the paper last week and found out that my vote was different than what I did.
That's a concern.
And,
Yeah.
and yet,
Yeah.
this is the first time it's happened. I've been quoted in a lot of newspapers in my life, and so it's a first. Interesting in Grand Marais. And, you know, I wanted a correction of that I did not support the 19.9, and I think that Commissioner Severson said it well, that I had made a campaign, promise of sorts that I would not support, or I'd work hard to prevent a 19.9, and so that's why I did it. I could have supported anything less than that, so. But I guess I have some concerns about that, and, and you start thinking when these things happen, and, having the main editorial writer being the person I ran against, it makes me start thinking. And I don't want to make any accusations or anything like that, and just that I would wish that, we're reported accurately in a credible manner. So I have a concern about that.
And maybe Commissioner Starley has a concern about that too, because she was
I got some hate mail, by the way, too.
Okay.
So.
Starley was misrepresented in that article as well.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to a correction. Yes, will we?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, yes,
Yes.
I've spoken with
Yeah.
Mr. Larson, and he said he would print a
Great.
correction.
Great. And I think it opens, there are issues with the newspaper, and we heard in public comment this morning that a lot of people read the newspaper and they take that as historical fact, and it's brought to us to respond to when it's absolutely not historical fact. There are people's opinions just like ours, and because it's in black and white, people do take it seriously. So there is a concern about that newspaper is reporting things that are taken very seriously, and they're not facts, they're opinions just like everybody else's opinions.
Well, there are facts in there, one of the comments this morning was eliminate the 20% that's non-mandated, and clearly that person was confused between the non-mandated items that we approve separately and what we do as a government that is not mandated. They're two separate non-mandated items, which, with WTIP, we go on and speak and answer questions, and we don't have a section in the paper for commissioner comments or administrator comments, or for Valerie to have a section to clarify that. And so, for that comment this morning, that would be our recorder's office, most of our auditor's office, our highway department. I mean, there's so many things completely and entirely essential to what we do. I need to have Bev here. She accurately records what we do, and so I'm not going to eliminate her position. So that's the hard part, and where's the balance, and are we going to increase our budget to add a person that can sit there and chase around all of the entities that put information out and make sure that they get it right? I mean, that's a whole other part of it. I don't think any of us wants to write a section for the paper every week to make sure they get it right, and we all have our own interpretation of what has been said. When we get on the radio, we sit there and go, oh, I missed that part, or, oh, so nobody's going to get it right every time. I'm not defending the paper, or I'm just saying nobody's perfect, and there's different ways to get the information out, and no matter what we do, someone's not going to understand it. During the town hall meetings, there was a question asked like 5 different times, the same question, and the answer was the same, and clearly people weren't getting it, no matter how many times it was repeated. And so some things just are complicated, and I don't know how many times we can say it if they're ever going to understand it. And it's not because they're not intelligent, it's just how we all process and understand information. And